chairman, Matt Schlapp. Matt, and would you begin with you? I don't know where the wiggle room is. There might be in the definition of a wall, but it might also be that there's no progress made and we declare or see the president declare an emergency next Friday night. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Neil, basically the president came up with a proposal and there's no counter from the Democrats. The counter from the Democrats is #resistance. We're not going to come up with a separate idea.
We don't know what's going on behind the scenes, to be
well,
fair,
we do. So there's this is one of the reasons I think I agree with Bob. They have conferees, they're meeting, but what did Nancy Pelosi say the other day? She came out and said there'll be absolutely no money for a wall. Why doesn't she let the conferees try to come up with an agreement?
Well, a couple of those conferees I talked to, Matt, and again, you could be right. The boss will call the shots. She will shut them down. But they have a differing view, so it might not go that way. But you're right. It is a concern, I guess, for Republicans. But, Andrew, let me get your take on this about how flexible you think some of the Democrats on that panel, we've talked to quite a few over the last week or so, who are more amenable to some of these other issues that Nancy Pelosi is not. Does she call the shots? If they're even thinking of wall funding, she's going to slap them down. Can she slap them down? What?
Look, I don't think we're going to see wall funding near. It's been made very clear by the public on this that they don't want to see a wall. We saw what happened during the shutdown. It was not a popular idea, and we also know it doesn't make sense.
What explains these half a dozen prominent Democrats, including Steny Hoyer, who are open to it?
Look, I don't think we're talking about a wall here. I think that we heard Nancy Pelosi say the other day that we can talk about fencing and increasing and also updating the fencing that's already there. That's really important, Neil, and I think we can get to talk about that. But what we also need to come to the table and look at is what the president said that we can agree to, right? Which is drones, which is increased patrols, which is active technology that we know would actually benefit securing the border. And I've talked with you about that a lot. This needs to be about smart security.
You think that would do the trick, Matt? What about that? If it's become advanced, that we can get beyond just a wall and talk about things that even might do better than a wall. Now, that you can quibble with that along the Tijuana-San Diego border where the wall seems to be doing just fine. What then? What do you think the president would do?
Well, I mean, this is so kind of a silly argument, whether it's a wall or a fence or a barrier. I like calling it a barrier. Then Nancy Pelosi can say, I didn't build the wall. And Donald Trump can say, okay, I didn't get my wall, but I got a barrier. This is so stupid. I think the American people see through it. By the way,
I know it is stupid, and I think you're right, but I think that's what it's going to come down to.
But
I do too. No, I do too. But let me finish. Let me finish the answer real fast. So I have an alarm on my house, but I also lock the dang door. The idea that a drone or some kind of electronic notification is going to prevent somebody from crossing the border is stupid. It will not work.
Right, but that's besides the point, because we know that the drugs come in through we know the drugs come in through the checkpoints, and we know they come in through tunnels. But also, Neil, here's my fundamental problem with whatever he says tonight.
The drone would catch that person when they're well into the United States, right?
We can have technology that helps us advance. Because
why, Andrew? I mean, what's this anathema? All of a sudden, Democrats have a wall when they voted for it, and Barack Obama pledged to it in the first few months of Donald Trump.
We're talking about a different type of wall here. We're talking about this is on the forefront of their proposal, right? And we know it's an archaic 20th century measure that when we can.
If it was archaic, then why were so many in your party for it?
Because there are a lot of other pieces to it, Neil, and
there are a lot of other pieces to this.
We want all the pieces. We want all the pieces.
No, Matt,
we want it all.
The wall is your forefront, right? The wall is your trophy. This is you're playing politics here, and the reality is that's why I can't trust anything that the president.
You just don't want him to win, right? You don't want him to win.
No, not about winning. It's I want to be smart with what actually makes sense.
Matt, did the president box himself into this corner, though? Didn't he do that?
In the sense that he said we have to have a barrier, I actually think he shifted. I like the fact that when he sat down with Schumer and Pelosi, he said, look, if you don't want a concrete wall, we'll change to some other material. Let's try to figure out a way to make this work.
He would take the heat of the blame for a government shutdown. Right?
He did, and you know what? Republicans tend to get the blame usually on shutdowns. I think it's good that the president wants to make spending fights on appropriations bills. And look, he got pushed, he got pummeled in the polls, as all politicians have. But the person who's been pummeled the most is Nancy Pelosi. She has the worst numbers of any nationwide political figure. She is not a popular person. I know she's popular with Andrew, but Americans